Serena Williams returns to tennis. It seems like 4 months ago now that it was when she was the build up and the hype and will she play doubles and will she not? Listen, she comes back. She doesn't win against Maya Joint. I don't care. She's back. She's playing. Eyeballs are on tennis. Biggest number ever for a Tuesday on ESPN. I mean, it's great. I hope we see more of it. I expect we'll see more of it. JW.
She was 44 years old, 4 years removed from the last time she stepped onto a professional singles court. And on a Tuesday afternoon at Wimbledon, under the weight of history, Serena Williams walked back out onto grass that already knew her name 7 times over. Nobody knew what to expect. Not the fans packed into center court. Not the pundits. Not even, perhaps, Serena herself. Across the net stood Maya Joint, 20 years old, a rising Australian talent who had spent the first half of 2026 in freefall, 3 wins, 15 losses, an 11-match losing streak that had quietly become the worst-kept secret on tour. She had a bad back. She had doubt. And now she had the improbable task of standing across from a 23-time Grand Slam champion in front of a global audience that wasn't there to watch her. They were there for the legend. The first set slipped away from Williams, 6-3. It looked, for a moment, like the story might end quickly, a respectful ovation, a gracious wave, a curtain falling gently on an era. But Serena Williams does not exit quietly. In the second set, something shifted. The serve came alive. The footwork, the instincts, the sheer stubborn will that had built an empire of trophies, all of it resurfaced, game by game. She broke Joint. She got broken back. And through it all, you could feel the crowd rising with her, sensing they were witnessing something rare, not just a comeback, but a fight. Joint's body language began to crack. The pressure of the moment, of potentially being the answer to a trivia question forever, who ended Serena's return, started to show. And then came the flashpoint. A tiebreak. Match point in Joint's grasp. 1 point away from victory. Serena Williams saved it. And then, as if reaching back through time itself, she unleashed a serve clocked at 122 miles per hour. A serve that belonged to a woman half her age. Joint's return sailed long. The set was Serena's. 6-all became a tie-break triumph, and suddenly the impossible felt within reach. The crowd was on its feet. The commentators were breathless. Was this really happening? Was a 44-year-old, 4 years removed from the tour, about to complete one of the great sporting resurrections in Wimbledon history? The third set began, and Serena surged, 2-1. The lead was hers. For a few electric minutes, it felt like destiny had already written the ending. But tennis doesn't care about scripts. And Maya Joint, 20 years old, with nothing left to lose, found something inside herself. A break of serve, then another surge. Point by point, the 20-year-old clawed the momentum back into her own hands. Williams, whose body had carried her through 3 grueling sets after 4 years away from this exact kind of war, began to slow. Just slightly. Just enough. Joint closed it out. 6-3. 6-7. 6-3. The match was hers. For Joint, it was redemption, an end to an 11-match nightmare delivered on the biggest stage of her career against the biggest name in the sport. She could barely speak afterward. "I don't know what just happened," she admitted, still stunned by what her own hands had done. For Serena, it was a loss, but it was not a defeat. She didn't appear for her press conference. Whispers began instantly. Was this the end? Was something wrong? Days later, the truth emerged. A knee injury, serious enough to force her and Sister Venus to withdraw from their doubles run together. The comeback, in its purest competitive form, was over almost as soon as it had begun. And yet, Andy Roddick, the 2003 US Open champion, watching it all unfold, said the only thing that actually mattered to him wasn't the scoreline. It wasn't the withdrawal. It wasn't even the injury. It was that she came back at all. She is back. She is playing, Roddick said, reflecting on the moment. Eyeballs returned to the sport in numbers ESPN hadn't seen on a Tuesday in years. A sport that sometimes struggles to hold a spotlight suddenly couldn't look away. One match, one aging legend, one rising underdog, and an entire tennis world reminded, all at once, why they fell in love with the game in the first place. Now the question becomes, What comes next? Serena hasn't entered another tournament yet, but whispers point toward Toronto, Cincinnati, and, if the knee heals in time, the biggest stage of all, the U.S. Open on American soil, this September. Nothing is confirmed. Nothing is guaranteed. At 4-4, with an injury still healing, every match carries genuine risk. But if there's one thing this Wimbledon run proved, it's that counting out Serena Williams has always been a losing bet. The story isn't over. It's just intermission. And when the curtain rises again, whether in Toronto, in Cincinnati, or under the lights of Flushing Meadows, the entire sport will be watching. Because some athletes retire, and some simply refuse to leave the stage.